First, enormous velocity.
Hira and Kim.
Knowledge far in advance of our own.
That's a smart thing.
Contact is established. We now transmit you direct. Item 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is terrific.
So this channel that I watch on YouTube, I think it's called GameSpot Universe. So they are covering Lovecraft Country, and I didn't know it's a book.
Oh, really?
And so the two people who are like covering it, talking about it, you know, breaking down each episode, both have read the book. And I was like, oh, okay,
that's cool.
But the way they're talking, like there's already been some significant changes. So I was like, but they like them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I think it's crazy how right now we're like in a point in our existence that people are remaking books into shows. Like, I just think that's crazy. Like, I just think it's crazy. Like, as much shit as people give books, when it's made into like some sort of like adaptation as a show or something like that, people end up really loving it. And it's one of those things like, hey, like maybe the books you were reading at school weren't fun, but you know, there are other books out there that are, you know, pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's also the issue. People don't like to read for some reason.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And so when they change these things to visual mediums, I guess it's more digestible for the masses. Like, just me finding out this is a book series or it's a book makes me kind of want to, like, makes me want to read it.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm like watching a show and I don't want to read it while I'm watching the show to ruin anything. I'd rather, I guess, after the show does what it's going to do, or at least the first season, then maybe I'll read the books afterward. But it's really good. And it's funny because they have a theory, which I didn't think about until they said it. When they said it, I was like, that makes sense. Because you know how, like, books, sometimes they allude to things and they don't, like, tell you.
Yeah.
And it's like, when it turns to a visual medium, then you can see it. And you're like, okay, so those things that we assumed, like the whole R plus L equals J thing from Game of Thrones, like, that was a big fan theory. And then, you know, when the show went on, you find out that it was confirmed and that it was true. You get to see it because they do the flashbacks and stuff. And so in here, there's two characters. I forget what the guy's name is, but I think the girl's name is Christina. They're both white. And then the main characters meet them at the Arden house. The two people on the YouTube channel have a theory that they're the same person.
Oh.
Because you never see them in the same room together. And they have this creepy blonde hair, like bright blue eye, like weird demeanor. And so they're either the same person or there's some sort of time travel aspect or like alternate universe aspect, and they're both the same person from different universes. Yeah. Because we do see a portal, you know, in the first episode open up. Because, well, no, that was the second episode. Because there was this cult pretty much, and they're trying to open up a portal to the Garden of Eden, and it was like a whole thing. And the girl, Christina, her dad was like the leader of that group. But yeah, it's getting interesting. And then they pointed out stuff that I hadn't thought about. And, you know, because this is when you've read the book and then you watch the movie or show, there's things that you kind of, like, you have this prior knowledge that people who haven't won't.
Yes. No, yeah, definitely.
And also, I also feel like opinions that you have on things are different when you've read the books. And then it turns to a visual medium. Yeah. Because, like in the Hunger Games, anybody who would listen, I say how irritating it is that for some reason they believe that anytime we have these, like, teen novels and stuff, that there needs to be a love triangle.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And that irritates me so much because in a lot of cases it doesn't need to be. Because it's like, okay, yeah, we were swept up with the whole Twilight mania or whatever back in the day. Yeah. But then, that one That, you know what, that one was iffy too, because the feelings weren't requited on one end.
Yeah.
So is it really a love triangle if the middle person doesn't like both?
Well, the middle person kind of liked both, but like obviously she liked one more than the other, and at the end,
But like drastically more.
yeah,
Drastically
no,
more.
yeah, definitely.
Because like when Edward ditched Bella, like to save her or whatever from him, she shut all the way down. Like in the second he came back, like even though her and Jacob hadn't had like a romantic relationship at like
The time
at all,
ever,
really,
yeah.
like she dropped him like a burnt pancake. Like
Burnt pancake.
It wasn't even really a love triangle. Like, and then I felt like when she did admit that she had feelings for him or whatever, it seemed forced. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But in the Hunger Games, it irritated me because when you read the books, they, you know, they show more of like their daily life. And then, you know, them going to school, because you never see them go to school. They're supposed to be in high school. I think Katniss is supposed to be like 15, 16.
Yeah.
I think, and then Gale, I think is supposed to be like 17, 18 in the books. I could be wrong, but they have that little bit of a gap between their ages, but they're both still in school.
Yeah.
And he, you know, he's at the end being in school. And in school, like, they, you know, it's one of the characters they cut out because, you know, you can't have every character when you switch from book to film.
Yeah, you gotta cut some off. Only 2 hours.
Yeah, because they're not really that important. But she has one friend, and it's like the mayor's daughter or niece or something. And they're pretty much friends because they both don't talk that much, and they can just have their peaceful silence chilling with each other. And then Gale never hangs out with her at school. He doesn't acknowledge her at school. He has a group of friends. She sees them, like he sees her. They never talk or interact. The only time they interact is when they're out hunting. And so when I was reading the book, and then you get to like Catching Fire, and I felt like he came out of left field when he's like, well, I thought we were going to be together. And I'm like, when you were ignoring her at school? People didn't even really know y'all knew each other like that.
Yeah. Well, I never read the book, so I don't know. But I would feel.
You didn't read? I thought you read the books.
No, I've seen the movies. I've never read the books.
Yeah, like I felt like, and then I feel like in the movie it still comes out of left field. Like it still comes out like you know, they're out palling around hunting together, and then she goes into the Hunger Games, comes back with a man, and then,
a whole ass man,
and then all of a sudden he's kissing her out there on the streets, and it's like obviously, and that's what I don't feel like she had romantic feelings for Gale either.
I don't think so,
because I don't even think she thought about it, to be honest. I don't feel like this was something that she had rolled around in her mind. I feel like he came up to her and was like, I thought we were gonna be together, like what's really going on? And she's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Like I don't think it ever, because she doesn't think about stuff like that. Like she don't even be thinking about relationships or any of that until she got dropped into the game.
Yeah. She
just was worried about surviving. Like, I need to get food for my family, I gotta take care of my sister, and that's all she had been thinking about.
Yeah.
So for one dude to reveal that he's had a crush on her all these years, that's her age, you know, and they had this meaningful interaction. And then the flip side, this guy who she actually kicks it with on the regular basis, who doesn't really treat her like a friend.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like the type of friends that you make when your parents have a friend and you're stuck kicking it with their kid.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it seemed like. Like, their dads both died in the same, like, mining accident. And then they both, I guess, their dads had both taught them how to hunt, and then they both end up out there hunting.
They were good hunting mates.
Passed.
They're more good hunting mates.
Yeah, they were hunting buddies.
Than actual friends.
Romantic,
like they're friends and they're friends out in these woods, but when we go back into civilization, we're like, all right, it was a good weekend.
Yeah,
I'll catch you back next Saturday on the next hunting trip. Have a good one.
Yeah, they're hunting buddies.
Yeah.
And so even when I was reading the book, I was like, Gail, you're kind of in the way of Peter swooping her up. Like, he was in the way, and he was complicated, because it's like the situation's already vastly complicated.
But you know what? Maybe in his head, because, you know, there's always someone who's like, we are meant to be together even if we don't want to. It's just kind of the thing. So I'm gonna keep doing my thing, you're gonna keep doing your thing, but eventually we're gonna end up together. I think that was his mindset, because for some reason some people always have an idea that they're like, well, we're just gonna end up together, and they think they can't put any of the work in there because it's just going to happen. But I'm like, no, bro, that's not how it works.
It's done deal.
Like, if you don't put in the work and you're gonna be ignoring me and stuff like that, like, obviously, like, if I find this other guy who's giving me attention, treating me better, like, why would I pick you over him? Like, really? Come on. Like, yeah, we hunt good together, but, like, other than that, there's nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know. The inclusion of Gail in the books, like, it just kind of seemed like the author was like, okay, she needs, a friend has a parallel story to hers that's very similar. In reality, she could have just gave her another sibling.
Yeah.
He could have been her friend, hunting buddy, and not been a romantic interest.
Definitely, because I feel like
that was...
Go ahead.
I feel like that was just her way of making him more important to the story. But I'm like, he is pretty important to the story because, they, the close friends, and then when they escape District 12, they're together. And then you forget the whole fact that his whole family died in the fire.
Oh.
Yeah, because they talk. Well, I don't even remember them really mentioning. I feel like he mentions one time his brothers. But when they flee District 12 and end up in District 13, which is underground, because the Capitol started dropping fire bombs on District 12, his family did not make it out.
Oh, no.
And so he pretty much went with Katniss's family and got out.
I apologize for the wind chimes. It's windy over here, and someone got some wind chimes.
Oh, dang. But yeah, I don't know. See, that's another reason why it'd been more important if he was like a family member. He could have even been like a live-in cousin. Because they talk about how similar they look. Like they have the same brown hair, same like gray eyes. That they look similar. And so in the books, when because how like everything, it's a TV show, it's a reality show, so they're trying to interview family members and friends and stuff, and everybody knows she don't really got no friends, and so then some people knew that they interact, and so the point is pointed towards him, but then she also on the flip side has this whole love story that's unfolding for the cameras while she's in the Hunger Games. And so obviously you can't have this other man
waiting for you to come home from the war. So then they start
telling people. So they start telling people that that's her cousin, that he's a distant cousin or something anyway.
Yeah.
They might as well just had him be a cousin. And then it would have put even more weight on the fact that the weapon that he helped design killed Prim. Because literally he made that weapon, and then it was supposed to be used against, the bad guys, and then they used it against themselves.
Yeah. No.
To make it look like the bad guys did it. That was the worst part.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, one of the most irritating things when I see like relationships with like male and females and stuff like that in like young adult books or even like romance books and stuff like that, like you can never have a guy just be your friend. Like there always has to be some sort of like romantic thing going on between you and this guy, because there's no other reason why a guy and a girl would hang out. And for me, that is so irritating. Like not every guy,
it's not like that in real life.
Not every guy sees a girl's like, I want to jump those bones, or any other way like that. Like girls don't see a guy's like, oh, well, I want to jump those. Like no, like sometimes we just meet people and we click. Are they good looking? Yes, they're attractive, beautiful people, but we just see each other platonically, nothing else. Like that's it. Like I'm like, it's just so irritating when people always have to put in like there's got to be something going on. They're like, no, like why y'all gotta make this shit complicated? Like okay, maybe back in the day or something like that, it looked bad that these two people. Because remember, even back in the day, like, a woman couldn't go into a man's house unless she was accompanied by, like, her brother or, like, her father or something like that. Because they always thought something was going to go down or some shit like that. And it's just like, dude, maybe they just get along.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I feel like that puts in the stigma of, like, the stuff that happens, like, I don't know. To me, it's just irritating how it always seems like guys and girls can't be friends. And it's like, no, my dear. Like, we can be friends.
Yeah, without no problem. It's funny
Yeah.
because the book series that I'm still reading, like, I'm literally on, like, the last 30 pages of the last book that's out. And it's weird because this book, this series, The Lords of the Underworld, actually is a pretty decent example of there being male and female characters and them not being romantically involved all the time.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you get the main couple, but a lot of the other characters from the other books are still friends and they show up. And it's usually, like, there's only one instance where there was, like, a romantic thing but it wasn't even romantic. Like, one of the characters is Keeper of the Demon of Promiscuity, and he has to sleep around every day. Can't repeat. And he sleeps with this one girl who's a sister of another character because they're, like, connected, like, everybody's connected in some way. But then later that girl ends up being, like, the life mate of his friend. But other than that, out of all of these books, 'cause I don't even know how many books it is that I don't roll through. That's the only instance. Other than that, they kind of, like, treat each other like siblings. Like, all the lords, they weren't, like, born conventionally. They were created by Zeus, and so they kind of see each other as siblings. Because, you know, it's mostly guys, and then there's the one girl, and then, you know, later Pandora. But they treat each other like siblings.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even refer to each other as, like, brothers and sisters. And then it's like all of the other people who they become friends with or who, you know, marry into the family, like, everyone else still treats them kind of like siblings too. So there's, like, a cool sibling vibe about it.
Yeah.
And so I think that this book series is actually a pretty good example of, you know, it doesn't always have to be romantic, because there's one character, Anya, and she comes into the series because she's the minor goddess of anarchy, and she ends up helping. She shows up towards the end of the first book, and so she shows up. The character, the main one, Maddox from the first book, in Ashland. Maddox is tethered to this curse. Him and then two of his brothers are pretty much tethered to this curse where they kill him every night and then he comes back to life every day.
That sucks.
And so with the help of Anya, she pretty much shows up and she helps them break it, and then that's when she meets Lucian, who's Keeper of the Demon of Death. And then, you know, she kind of flirts with him, like, immediately. And then through their story, she brings in her friend William. And William is, like, literally a man-hoe. But them two, their friendship never crossed that boundary. They were always just friends.
That's good. Yeah.
And I thought that was, like, a positive, addition, because it's, like, it'd have been a little bit weird for her to be like, oh yeah, I've slept with this guy and he's my friend.
Definitely.
And then bring him around.
Yeah.
Her new man.
yeah.
And so, which I feel like would totally happen in a teen YA book
Which
series
is like, why? Come on. It's like... And
this series is strictly an adult series. And they were able to have a more realistic relationship in that sense. Because there's other stuff where I'm like, dang, like, this girl has sisters, and then, like, immediately one of her sister hooks up with another guy, and that's her life mate too. Like, what are the odds? But like, at least the friendship part, I feel, seems very
genuine,
realistic.
Yeah, like, I keep telling you to read this comic Let's Play, and in that one they have, like, a really, like, there's a character, like, the main character is, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Even though they say it all the goddamn time. But anyway, she has this guy who's been her friend for a really long time. His name is Link. And the only reason I remember that's because of the video game Legend of Zelda. And her and him have been, like, really good friends, and it was never seen as anything like else other than a friendship. But I guess when she starts working and stuff like that, like they kind of like distance themselves, and he doesn't know how to keep that friendship going other than like trying to like go out with her. And even like in the beginning of the book, like he always thought that he had like some sort of like crush on her or something like that. But you know, when it all comes down to it at the end, he realizes like, no, I don't like her like that. Like I like her as a sister. Like to me, she's family. She's not really like anyone that I see like romantically. Like I care about her and stuff like that. But he just didn't know how to go about it because he's never had, like in the book, he only has a brother. Like he doesn't have any sisters, and he doesn't know how to be like, I like this girl, but I just want her to be my friend without it like weirding or being weird or something like that. So they have like this whole like storyline where like they start like she ends up not seeing him as a like boyfriend, just as a friend at first, but after like they bring up like, oh, he likes you, he wants to go out with you, she starts seeing him in a different way and they explore it. But you know, at the end of it, they do both realize that we're just friends more than anything else. So like I like that dynamic because, you know, I feel like there's some parts where even just us as navigating as people, we don't know exactly where we want to go with relationships with some people because, you know, when we're young, we don't fucking know. Like, you know, we live and we learn as we go. So I feel like that was a good example of people being able to like start to see the difference between someone who is just your friend and someone who is like you might see as something more than just a friend. So I don't know, I feel like it sucks in a lot of young adult novels they do that like whole love triangle. There has to be a love triangle, but like I feel like that's why people feel like that. Like we read all these things and we feel like that's normal, that's how things have to be, or we see it in our society too. It's all like that's how things are, but it's not really like that. You read this comic, you're like, I wish that there were more things where it didn't have to make it seem like women and men can't just be friends. Like I wish they would show more things like that so we can like normalize things like this, because it sucks because even
regular old friendships,
like it's funny because my like being a Hispanic person and stuff like that, my parents were always like, you can't hang out with this dude because they're gonna want more, blah blah. But at the end of the day, it's all like sometimes we'd be talking and he's all like, nobody wants to do that with your daughter. Like, and I'm like, nobody wants to do that with your son, sir. So it's like, come on, you guys, like, why do you guys have to make us feel like we can't just hang out and it'd be cool? How come there always has to be something more? Like, come on, you guys, just let us be friends, let us be kids. Come on, yo.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you ready to get the show on the road?
Yep, let's start this episode.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to Item 9 Podcast. This is Hyra.
And Kim.
Back to you guys on another Friday. I hope you guys are having a great week, a great freaking Friday, great month. Whatever you're doing, I hope it is awesome. And I hope you guys are ready for us to do... Well, this isn't really a story. This is more like something I learned about today. You want to know what I learned? But yeah, something that I learned about. I would like to thank... it's STF.INFKTION. I don't know how to say that, but her name's Steph. Stephanie, thank you so much for requesting the subject. I looked it up and I hope it's to your liking, so I really appreciate it. Anything else you guys can think of that you guys would like to hear us talk about, please feel free to request and we will do our best to have it out for you guys. So, Stephanie had messaged us and she wanted to know, I guess, our take on astral projection. So, you know, but she requested astral projection. So, you know, I've heard of astral projection. I kind of know what it is, but I've never really like, you know, gone in to do research on what exactly it is. So, astral projection is pretty much like the process of moving or pulling out your conscience from your body and, you know, getting it out into... Well, people believe that outside of your mind, there's something called the astral plane, which is pretty much like more like an area where more like energy goes out into, right? So some people believe that this astral energy, or this thing you pull out, like your conscience that you pull out, they believe that it is your soul. So they think that you remove your soul from your body, from the earthly realm and into the astral realm, which is also known as an out of body experience, right? So astral projection has been around for a really long time. Like, girl, Plato and fucking Aristotle were out back with the homies talking about stars and shit like that, and they're over here talking about our bodies being able to come out of their consciousness and into the astral plane. So this thing has been going on for a really long time. They also believe that, because humans are made out of star particles. We're all connected to this universe. So they're like, well, if this astral plane does exist, that means that our conscious, our souls are actually what is physically made out of the star dust. That's why we can go out of our body and into these different realms, right? So they call that like the fifth element. Like, that's what they believe, like our soul or our conscious is the fifth element of our body.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Soul.
Yeah. And that's why they believe that a lot of this, like, that's why, like, things that happen, like, things that happen with, like, solar eclipses and stuff like that, that's why they think it affects people, because we're actually connected with the same material as the cosmos. So as someone who has worked overnight, especially at a store, I will say some of the craziest stuff that happens is during the full moon. So when people be like, the crazies come out in the full moon, like, yes, because it is affecting our conscious, because we are connected with whatever's going on up in space. So, I don't know. That's just my take. I don't know about you, but that's how I be feeling sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like where I work at, crazy people are out all the time. But I do feel like people are affected in the daytime too around full moons.
Oh,
I can tell a full moon is coming before it comes, because people will start to trip even harder than they usually do.
Yeah, because, it's in preparation for that full moon when they can, bring out the big guns and go full crazy on us. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's storing up the energy. Like, people start acting up, and it's like, oh, full moon must be coming. They acting up real hard. Because we just had one. What was it like? The moon was like under Pisces or something this week.
I have like a little app here that like tells me when the full moon is, but obviously I must have been asleep or at work because I don't know when it happened.
You didn't make your moon water?
No, my glass broke. I have to get a new one. Astral projection has been around, like I said, for a really long time. Like, we have Native Americans who have rituals where they pretty much try to have these out-of-body experiences to, pretty much figure out something that's bothering them in their life, or figuring out how to continue from a rut they're in or anything like that. So we also have Egyptians who believed in this as well. Like, if you look in the Book of the Dead, there's an actual picture of an astral body, pretty much. So it's like, let me show you.
I like how we always have visual aids.
Uh-huh.
But this is a non-visual medium that we record on. Like, we should record on YouTube.
Oh gosh, I don't want my face though.
Yeah, sometimes we do not usually be camera ready when we are recording these episodes.
Like, look at me, I'm in my jammies.
Sitting in our pajamas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, when my hair was long enough, it'd be up in a bun.
Mm-hmm. So you see it like right here? Right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like you see how it has like a little head on there, and it shows like the wings, because one of the big things that people say when they have like an out of body experience is that they feel like they're floating or they're flying. And like, what better way to depict it than a bird, because they're the ones, who are always freaking flying around,
Yeah.
So This right here, like the little soul part of it, is called Ba, which is their interpretation of soul. And they're saying it has the ability of coming out of your body via the Ka, which is the soul, the soul body. So they're saying like you don't just go out of there like, you know, like a little light of ball. Like you actually have a body when you come out of your physical one. So this is like the soul and this is the body of it, like the other vessel that's in it. Yeah. We'll put it on Instagram for you guys to see. Literally, it just looks like a little mummy person down there and this weird little bird with a human head on it. It's pretty trippy. So this is what, you know, the Egyptians believed in. There's even like references of astral projection in the Bible. So it's like, come on, if it's in the Bible, it's got to be fact, right? In Ezekiel 30, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say Bible verses, excuse me, but Ezekiel 37, 1 through 14, it says, "The hand of the Lord was upon me, and he brought me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me," let me start over. "The hand of the Lord was upon me, and he brought me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the middle of the valley. It was full of bones. And he led me around among them, and behold, there were very many on the surface of the valley, and behold, they were very dry. And he said to me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, you know." Then he said to me,
know what?
I know, I'm like,
That was a vague answer.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
You're like, come on, bro, come on.
He said, you supposed to know everything. Like, you don't gotta ask me.
I know. And then he said to me, prophecy over these bones, and say to them, O dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus say the Lord God to these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter you, and you shall live. Okay. And obviously he says that he took him out of his body and put him in the fucking middle of a field. That is astral projection if I have ever heard it in my life. Like, because you know what, I already told you, Kim, that this is like, I want to talk about the Bible at some point. Right now is not the time, but eventually I would like to get there. Because I
get some research in.
Yeah, I have watched The Prince of Egypt for the first time in my life today. I mean, yesterday. I've never seen it before.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I did not know that you hadn't seen that movie.
Never seen it. I don't know. I'm just not really into like religious or like Bible-y stories and stuff like that, because, you know, I've just seen so many examples of things gone right. But whatever, that's not the point. But this happened. I was watching this and I'm like, I have questions for you, sir. I have many questions, but that's not for today.
Well, the crazy thing is, okay, like, I don't know, growing up, that's just one of those movies that's like always on TV. And so that's why I had seen it so many times as a kid, because I don't know what channels it was playing on, but it used to be on TV all the time. I used to just see it. Like, you just be flipping channels. You'd be like, oh, Prince of Egypt is on. You just watch it. Like,
no, I purposely skipped that one. I'm like, Prince of Egypt. Let me see what else is on.
Man, but you know, it got some good music.
I will say, yeah.
Back in the day, the cartoon movies that we had were...
No, I will say, I listened to some of them songs and I was like, man, this is a fucking bop. Like, yes, like, girl, do it. But anyway, they make a reference, you know, to out-of-body experiences in the Bible. And, there's some things that people say that you can experience out in this astral plane. There are people who go around saying, like, you know, there's nothing in the astral plane. It's just pretty much just space. You go out there. It's pretty much just like a duplicate of what we physically see. You know, like you'll be floating around in your room or whatever. But there are other people who say that no, that you can also encounter entities or other people out in this astral plane. And, you know, like all things, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's scary as shit. So they're pretty much saying, like, when you go and you astral project, it really just depends on like where you are spiritually or where you are as a person. Like, they're like, if you're out there feeling scared and stuff like that, obviously scary stuff are going to come to you because negative things are attracted to negative energy. So they'll, come up and be like, what's up, Or
that reminds me of Insidious.
Yes.
Like, in my mind, I felt like, because I forget how they explain it, like, because they talk about how, like, they're traveling, like, they leave their body, and I feel like they're astral projecting, but they astral project to, like, the worst place that you could go, seems like.
Yeah.
It's creepy, it's their stuff that almost seems like it's okay, but then, like, the coloring is off, or people have horrible smiles stuck to their faces. Like, that is not where I would want to go.
Yeah.
If I
definitely
was astral projecting.
And there's people who definitely say that sometimes, like, they can just, be like, hey, yo, pop off, cuh. And if they feel that you're not scared or stuff like that, they will be like, all right, whatever. Like, obviously, we can't fuck with this dude. But yeah, definitely, they're all like, it depends on where you are. There are people who say that sometimes if you recite the Lord's Prayer, it'll work. There are other people who's like, nah, that shit don't fucking work. You just gotta be like, showing like your fucking wings and shit like that. Like, pop off, cut, pop off, and they'll like leave you alone.
I feel like the Lord's Prayer is that old reliable.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
If you don't know what to do, stuff's getting creepy, you just shoot through that. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up going to church or anything, so I don't know it. I feel like maybe I should, just in case, because you never know. But, like, if you watch anything,
no, definitely.
Whenever people don't know what to do, they just shoot that one off, and they usually turn out all right.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just a fun story, just throwing it out there, because I feel like this kind of counts as it. But one time I was having, like, really bad, like, nightmares of a demon, which I shall not name because, that's pretty much what happened to me. Like, I kept hearing the name over and over again and it just kind of got stuck in my head. And the motherfucker came to visit me. And, like, you're dreaming and stuff like that. You know you're dreaming. And this motherfucker come up and is trying to, like, take over your body. But no, I didn't know what to do either because I don't know, like, a lot of the Lord's prayers. I started singing Peaches. Sucking on my titties like you wanted me, calling me all the time. Like, yes, I started singing that, and, like, it was just, like, like, what the fuck? And I just had to have, like, a whole little, like, dance party and feel it myself. And then after that, like, the next day, I had the same dream, and it tried to scare me. And this time, I was like, no, bro. Like, don't come at me. I got more songs to come. Like, I'll sing at you. And ever since then, it has not bothered me ever since. But I'm all like, if you're ever scared and there's a song even if it's Twinkle Twinkle fucking, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, whatever the shit is called, you sing that shit, you own that shit, and there is nothing they can do, because after that, you're going to think of other songs, you're going to be feeling good, and it works. At least in my experience, it has worked, so.
That's, like, really funny, yet really helpful.
Like, I could not think of another song. Like, I was just there, and I was scared, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, the song just came up, and I was all like, going for it. And obviously, I don't know all the lyrics to it, so I switched to another song, and I just kept singing a whole bunch of different songs. And it, like, literally, I saw the confusion in his face. And when you see the confusion, you're like, this shit is working. When they say to act crazy, they really mean act crazy.
Hey, it's one of the lessons I learned from Hey Arnold back in the day. You haven't seen it.
I haven't seen Hey Arnold. I learned that on my own.
You know what? I have the complete series. I'll let you borrow it because it's really good and they're short episodes. Hey Arnold was so good. There was one episode where, like, the town bully was gonna, like, fight him. I forget why. And then he's grown up in a very unconventional lifestyle. He's being raised by his grandparents, and they run a boarding house. And so, to an extent, like, he's being raised by everyone there. But then his grandparents are both a little off, especially his grandma. But she's, like, the coolest, like, type of off. But yeah, and then I forget what advice his grandpa gives him. But what ends up happening is he shows up to the fight with a boombox. and he plays, I think it's a James Brown song, and just starts dancing and acting crazy. And then after a while, like, the bully just leaves him alone. Everybody was like, what was that? That was amazing. And he didn't get beat up.
It's just having your own good old time. Yeah. Like, literally, that's what happened to me. Like, I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know any prayers or anything like that. And just peaches. Goddamn peaches. You know what I mean? And it worked. And ever since then, it's just like, I feel like when you have negative energies, if you try to show it out with positivity, like, they don't know what to do with that. Like, the positivity does not compute. And they're like, you know what? We got more negative vibes going over here. We just gonna go over there.
Yeah.
Like,
someone else.
So.
That's, unfortunately, that's the thing. Like, at least us regular people don't have the capacity to get rid of something. But what you can do is push it away from you.
Definitely.
And if it finds somebody else, it finds somebody else. Like, that's what we learned from Paranormal Activity 2. You know, if you don't want it, unfortunately, sometimes it'll even go to somebody you know, but at least it ain't you.
Yeah, true. There are people who believe that when you go into the astral body, the astral plane, you actually have the ability to see the past and even the future. So there are a lot of, like, stories where people are like, hey, like, I went into this area and I saw a building there, but there's nothing there. And then a few years later, like, they're like, you know, obviously a building is kind of, but they'll be like, I saw, like, a fucking Chuck E. Cheese, and a Chuck E. Cheese is built there. And then 5 years later, a Chuck E. Cheese is there. So it's like, you know.
I was watching a video yesterday where something like that happened. But I think they were attributing that to, like, time travel, like accidental time travel. Because it was like a pilot was flying a plane by himself, and he flew over this, it was like a landing base or something, but it wasn't being used at that time. Like, it wasn't in use during these years or whatever.
Yeah.
But he said he went through, was it a storm or some clouds or something? And we came out. Not only was he able to, like, he was able to describe, he saw people, like it was in full, like, operation. And he could even see the jumpsuits, what color they were, what they looked like. And he even was able to describe planes that he had never seen before because they weren't invented. Yeah. And I forgot how many years later it was, but that airstrip did become operational. And then the people did end up using those same color.
Dude, that's crazy.
Suits. And then I forgot what was the plane, but the plane that he described ended up being an actual plane that was, built years later that they did use there. And so some people were thinking it was like accidental time travel, like he went through a vortex or something by accident and, saw into the future and then flipped back real quick.
Definitely, yeah. But there are people who do definitely believe when you astral project, you do have the ability to go to the past or to the future. There's, and some other things people say is sometimes, like, you'll feel like you'll be able to float up and you'll be able to look down at yourself and see yourself sleeping. And my fear about this is, like, man, I would hate to, like, wake up and look at myself and, like, I'm just there, like, sleeping all retarded, like drool coming down my face, and
your drool bucket don't fell off to the side.
Yeah, and then Carlos is just there playing video games or doing something, and I'm sleeping all stupid. Like, I'm like, how do you love me? Like, with my drool bucket to the side and shit like that. Like, imagine. But but yeah, like, like when you're out of your physical body and into your astral body, there are a lot of cool things you could do. Like we said, you can travel. You can go to other places like space. You can, explore your room. You can go to the living room. You can go to your crush's house, have sex with them, go to the Pentagon, go to, Area 51.
Physically touch people?
There are people
in the astral plane?
Girl, I was, like I said, I am a big, big, big fan of Reddit. I love you, Reddit fam. Hashtag respect. There are people who say that you can go to a person's house that you like. Because, it's a very big thing where people have sex dreams. Sex dreams happen, you know what I mean? There are some people that say that you can invade a person's dream as you're astral traveling to be able to have that sex dream with that person. You know what I mean? There are like there's this Reddit group where they create sigils, and with those sigils, you go to a planned location. So like, let's say I'm gonna be like, all right, y'all, we'll meet at Stonehenge. Here's a sigil. You get the sigil. You know, you do the stuff you gotta do to astral project, and you go and you all meet up at Stonehenge. You know what I mean? So like, you can meet up with other people too. So it's like, is it really that? You know, and even after you do that, there are people who remember having the same experiences. Like, hey, you were at Stonehenge that day. It's like, yeah, I was there. You know, they talk. So, like, how far-fetched is it to be like, I went into your dream and we had sex in your dream and we remember? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just saying. But, yeah, these are things that, you know, right now, astral projection is such a big thing, which I didn't know, that people are using it for the quarantine. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, this group has like sigils
to
where
visit people.
Yeah,
Since you're supposed to stay inside.
Yeah. So like, you know, they'll have meetups like, you know what, we didn't get a storm Area 51, but we will in our astral bodies. So, you know, they make their little sigil and they go and, you know, they hang out, they go and explore, they find the aliens or whatever, you know, they do what they got to do, you know. And it's safe because, you know, when you're in your astral body, you're not breathing on anyone, so no corona. So
fun. That's actually fun.
Yep.
But what if like, okay, you've seen the men who stare at goats.
Yes. Eventually, I would like that to be a subject because it's in the same realm of what we're talking about, but it's a little different. That's called remote viewing. Yeah.
Well, no, not that part. Not that part at all. Just the fact that because this is a thing, if you go by, because the fact that was the men who stare at goats is supposed to be like loosely based off of true story. You can assume that the fact that this is a thing, that the government would have a division that's specifically working on astral projection. And if they do have that, then I would assume that places like Area 51 would have like
astral
some sort
guards.
of astral protection. So that you can't
go
astral projection storm Area 51.
You know what? There is a story of someone who said that they tried to project themselves in the Pentagon and they actually met with an astral green beret there, and they're like, nah bro, there's no entrance here.
They said we're gonna need for you to back up the way you came.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, it's funny, we laugh at it, but like it was a legit thing. Like you said, like the government really put funding to have what is it, like psychics and stuff like that, and like they
said we need all types of protection that are available.
Yeah, and you know what? As many like failures as they had some really big successes, and those really big successes were crazy because it's not one of those things where it's like, you know, it's like a 1 in like 0.6 billion or whatever, and they did it like detail to detail, able to tell you stuff, and it's just to me that's mind-boggling that was even able to happen. But you know what, that's for a different topic. But yeah. So you may ask me, but Hyra, how do I astral project? That sounds like something I'm into. I would love to know how I can
try it out, visit my friends, you know,
bounce out of this bitch ass body and go into my ultimate form and fly around and shit.
Ultimate form.
Ultimate. Let me see. So, let me tell you some things you can do to astral project. Obviously, the easiest way to do is almost die. Have a near-death experience. Because a lot of the times, that's when people will say that they have seen themselves or been able to float and their life has passing through flashed through their eyes and stuff like that. Like, obviously, that's number one. Now, if you're too scared to have a near-death experience, which valid, because I am too. Like,
me. What's option 2?
Okay.
That's a no from me from one.
So option 2 is a little less fun because you actually have to practice. And people say, okay, listen, let me tell you something. As a human being who's just learning about this right now, I feel like there are steps to astral projection. I feel like astral projection is like step 3. I feel like if this is something you're actually interested in, first off, you should learn how to meditate. Because if you can't bring your body into a state of just complete relaxation and just forgetting things, you're going to have a really tough time astral projecting. So I would say meditate.
That makes sense.
Meditate. After you've got meditating at least to like a 49%, all right, you good at it, whatever. I would suggest lucid dreaming, which lucid dreaming, a lot of people believe that this astral projection is not really astral projection as much as it is someone having a really bomb-ass dream, a really lucid dream. So I would suggest practice how to lucid dream, which if you guys want to learn about lucid dreaming, let me know later and I can go in more depth into that, okay? And then after that, once you've got lucid dreaming down, I feel like it'll be easier for you to separate from your physical body and out into the astral plane. Just my thought. Have I tried to astral project? No, I have not. But I can meditate and I can lucid dream. So I think once I grow the cojones to astral project, that is my next goal. All right. So how can you astral project if you just want to go in? Because there are people who don't even care. They're like, you know what? Go big or go home. And you know what? #respect. You do you, bro. And let me help you out. All right. So this is from the Monroe Institute. They are the leading research organization in the field of human consciousness. Okay. So they published this in 1971, and it gives you 7 steps to learn how to astral project, or AP. All right. So step 1, you want to get really relaxed. You want to relax both physically and mentally. Step 2, you want to get into a hypnagogic state, which is pretty much the same thing as step 1, just the ultimate form of relaxation. Or this is also half sleep. After that, you got step 3, deepen the state by prioritizing mental sensation over physical sensation. Step 4, pay attention to the presence of vibration in your environment, which becomes apparent in a state of deep attention. Which I will say, one of the most common things people say, like, you're about to astral project if you're fucking vibrating like stage 6 on your vibrator. Like, if you like fucking vibrating, like you feel that mentally, like you are ready to almost separate from your body. And a lot of people are saying, for some people, this is a very pleasant experience, but for a lot of people, they're like, nah, that shit is fuck. It's like, imagine, like, when your arm falls asleep and then it wakes up and you feel like all the pins and needles. They're like, it feels like that, except without all the pins and needles, if that makes any sense. Just fucking annoying. Step 5, incur the vibration in your physical body and relax into its presence. So yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but just let it happen. The purpose of this is to gently jiggle the subtle body out of the physical body. Step 6, focus your thoughts on leaving the limbs and the torso and try to do so one at a time. So maybe the first time you astral project, maybe you'll just be able to take your right arm out, just your left arm out. Eventually, your whole body will come out. Step 7, known as lifting out. Focus on effortlessly drifting out of your physical body. And those are the 7 steps for the Monroe Institute. Now, there's another step. And this one, I think it's like, this one and the rocking one, or rolling out, are like the easiest ones. So the astral dynamics movement were the ones who coined this rope technique. And it is most accessible astral projection method right now. So, step 1, relax the physical body by visualizing each muscle. Step 2, form your space of relaxation. Enter a vibrational state. This should feel like an amplified version of a cell phone vibration mode, pulsations coursing through the body. Step 3, imagine a rope hanging above you. Step 4, using the astral or subtle body, Attempt to hold onto the rope with both hands. The physical body remains completely relaxed. Completely. I'm like fucking Scooby-Doo over here. God damn. Step 5.
Completely relaxed.
Begin to climb the rope. Hand over hand, all the while visualizing reaching the ceiling above you. Steps.
Do you have to have upper body strength in the astral world?
Just imagine it and it will come. What is that movie? If you build it, they will come. Here, if you imagine it, it will happen.
Man.
Step 6. Once you are aware of your full exit of the physical body, you are able to explore the astral plane. That rope one actually also was, brought upon because it happened. This rope technique, I think, is an idea people came up with because it is also something that's referenced in the Bible. So, like I said before, how do you say that? It's ECCLESIASTES. Ecclestes. 12:6. Before the silver cord is snapped, or the golden bowl is broken, or the pitcher is shattered at the fountain, or the wheel broken at the cistern. So there's like a lot of like a reference to this silver cord, which a lot of people believe that silver cord is what ties your body to your soul or your astral body, which we also hear a lot about that in other in other cultures and stuff like that. Like I believe like in China or something like that, they have like the red string. So I feel like,
but doesn't the string connect you to others?
I think so, but I don't exactly know. Hold on.
Yeah, because I thought the red string.
Red string of fate.
Yeah, it's you're connected to other people. These are the people you're supposed to be connected to. You're always connected to them.
Oh, definitely in the Bible they do make reference to this silver cord, which people believe that's what actually connects your body to your soul. And that's why like a lot of people who ask questions about astral projection, they're like, well, won't you lose your body? Won't something be able to take over? And the thing is, there's no real answers to these questions. You know what I mean? Like, there are people who believe, yes, this can happen. There are other people who are like, no, like your body is your body and nothing can connect it because you still have your cord, your silver rope that's still connected and binds you, and there's no way that can be cut until you actually die. You know what I mean? So just because you leave your astral body, it's not your time to go, so nothing can take over. But then there's those other horror stories who are like, nah, something was definitely trying to pull me out. So it's like, to each his own. Like, you weigh the risks and benefits and you go from there.
I don't know, I feel like something could enter your body. I mean, I feel like you're probably still tethered to it.
Backseat driver.
Yeah, but if you're open because you're not there, then something could slip in. Because, like you said, we hear all kinds of stories about, things occupying bodies when the person's soul is in there.
Yeah.
So just imagine how much space they have when you've temporarily left it.
Yeah, left the vessel. Yeah, definitely. It's like, when you have a pen and you leave it like in the middle of the street somewhere hoping they'll still be there when you come back, like don't be surprised when it's gone, But I don't know. Me personally, I think if you're going to be someone who's thinking about astral projecting or leaving your body at any moment, I feel like you should have some sort of protection, something there to help you go back and like you
protect your body,
body.
It'll be there when you come back.
Definitely. Like if you're someone who believes in salt, because I am a deep believer in salt. I know salt is there to help keep negative things out. So if you're thinking about probably going into astral projection mode, I say you make a fucking event out of this bitch. You know what I mean? Go take a beautiful cleansing bath, come back, light a candle, set your intention, put a little salt circle around you. You know what I mean? Do something to make sure that you're ultimately protected from something that can happen, you know? That's just me. Like, for me, if I ever plan to astral project, I am actually going to make a whole ritual out of it, and I'm going to make sure that I'm the one who comes back. Oh, I have stories! First of all, I want you to watch this video, because this one was just funny. Watch this video.
Okay. So, he lost the keychain. And then the thing stopped visiting him.
Yeah.
I just don't like his presentation of the way he tells his story.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a little kid telling the story.
Yeah.
And then 2, it just kind of sounds like none of these things are connected. Like, I don't know. I've never been to this YouTube channel.
Yeah, me either.
But he makes 2 comments about other videos, but videos that he hasn't made yet.
Yeah. No, yeah, I don't know. But I just
like, how do you drop a story that you talk about your other self follows you around, floating, and, you know, talks to you, and then it's like, oh, I'll tell you about that later. Like, no, that's a video that should have came before this point. And then, the demonic possession thing. Like, okay, like, but I don't know. I do believe that we're believers that artifacts can carry energies and things like that. If I was him, though, like, if my conscience was like, don't get that key, I wouldn't have got the key.
Yeah.
Something was up with that key. Because think about it, he has a lot of pull over what's going on in his dreams, lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
Most people do not.
Yeah. That's why you have to practice.
It's like, if you're able to interact with this thing, other people cannot, and it's just influencing them whichever way it wants to.
Yeah. No, definitely. I feel like lucid dreaming and astral projection, honestly, I think for people who suffer from sleep paralysis, I feel like these are very good exercises to go through, because the more you practice things like this, the more control you have when you do have like a sleep paralysis episode. Like, you've practiced, like, when your body falls asleep and you're still conscious and you can move around in your body or outside of your body, it helps you, you know, be able to defend yourself from sleep paralysis, horror stories, or horror times. I don't know.
My thing is, like, as a kid, I used to suffer from sleep paralysis. But luckily for me, being a weird kid, I don't think I knew what the name of it was then, but I knew that I need to move around. And that I also shouldn't look around, because, you know, how they say people see things, you know? And so I never seen anything but, like, the darkness of my room when it happened. Yeah. But my focus is always, like, you're awake, you need to move around. Yeah. And so I just put all of my focus in, like, trying to move my arms up. And so it's funny because, what was it, when I went on vacation, I thought I was going to wake up my roommate, because it's funny, like, how when you're in a dream and you know you're in a dream. Yeah. And so I was still dreaming. I was still asleep. But in my dream, I woke up and I was suffering from sleep paralysis.
Oh, that sucks.
And then I just remember, like, and I'm pretty sure that I was doing this, like, outwardly, breathing really hard and really loud. Because, like, I'm focusing on moving. And so I'm like, I'm probably going to wake up my roommate, and he's going to be like, why are you breathing like that? Like, you good?
Maybe that would have helped you wake up some more, like, you know.
I know, but the issue is that, but that was in the dream.
I know.
Like, it was like, you know, Inception. There were layers. Like, my regular self is not awake, and I'm not suffering from sleep paralysis. But my dream self did go to sleep, and she is struggling to get up. But eventually I was able to move my arm, and then my dream self went back to sleep. I don't know where I went after that point, but
that's weird. Maybe you just had a astral projection episode and you didn't even know.
But I wasn't looking at myself. Well, like, I was stuck.
Yeah, like you were stuck. I feel like you were,
but I couldn't get out of my body.
Yeah, I think you were in the middle of almost leaving, but you couldn't. That's why you were kind of like in the middle, in the weird, like, middle stuck episode that you were in.
Yeah, because like I was in the room, because like in the dream I remember I was in the room that I was staying in at the house that we all rented. And then just like you, I have a weird thing about closets too.
Yeah.
And so that one was one of the ones where it had the doors, and so it was in the daytime. Like I'm in and out of the closet because that's where all my stuff is. But every night, I don't know if my roommate noticed. Every night I would close it and make sure it was like, because it had like 3 doors, like that slide, and so I'll make sure that they're all the way closed, because if the closet's open, I can't go to sleep.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. If it's cracked, I can't go to sleep. Like it's uncomfortable for me. Like, even if I turn away from it, like, my body's like, you gotta get up and close
the closet. Yep.
that door. And so I remember, like, being like, don't look at the closet, because that's probably not a good place to look. And so I'm looking towards, like, where the door is, kind of, but then at the same time, I'm putting all my focus on, you gotta move your arms. You're suffering. Like, in my mind, I'm like, you're suffering from sleep paralysis. Get up. And then I guess, like, because I told my roommate, because he said, I guess I was just moving around a lot. And he thought that I was going to wake up. But I didn't.
Oh. Yeah. No. But yeah, I got some more astral projection stories. I'll give a fair warning if you want to log out. And we'll be back next week. But if these non-scary ones do happen for you, I'm sorry. These were, like, not scary to me. So this is from Queeve _ Stroganoff 44. Thank you for your contribution to Reddit Society. So, girl, I can't read. So Kim will be the reader for me because I am not the reader.
Carrie Mullins is a Nobel Prize winning chemist and also very much into the occult and esotericism. I don't know what that is. He is an avid surfer and claims to have had an encounter with a talking glowing raccoon. This is his amazing astral projection story. I just realized people here may really enjoy his book, Dancing Naked in the Minefield, which we should read.
Yes, I know, definitely.
That sounds interesting, Dancing Naked in the Minefield. It's about Carrie Mullins, a chemist who won a Nobel Prize for the invention of PCR. Dr. Mullins was heavily entrenched in counterculture / occult circles as well. My story from the book shows just how awesome and delightfully weird he is, and his esoteric learnings. Spoilers ahead. Also, it's been a while since I've read it, so some details might be a little off. Anyhow, like I said, Mullins is a very accomplished chemist. One night, his mosquito-allergic girlfriend, that's me, because I was just talking about how I just figured out that I'm probably allergic to mosquitoes, and
that sucks.
It's not the bee's knees.
It's not. It's not item 9 at all.
One night, it's not. One night, his mosquito-allergic girlfriend gets bit by one. So he goes to his lab, whips up some antihistamine, and gives her a dose. He dropped his girlfriend at her home, returning to his home, and took the remainder of the antihistamine himself in order to help him sleep. I didn't know antihistamines help you sleep, but that makes sense because, like, I know Benadryl can make you drowsy, so that makes sense.
You know what? Benadryl doesn't do anything for me, though. #sadness.
But before bed, he decided he would take a couple of hits of his nitrous oxide tank.
Yep. Cement.
Okay.
Yep. This dude's hardcore.
He was like, I want to be sleepy, but I also want to be high. It was a huge tank that had enough gas to last hours. We're not talking whipped cream canisters here. Oh, that's what's in whipped cream canisters?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I knew there was like a gas in there. Side note, the store that I work at, we sometimes sell whipped cream. We are supposed to usually sell it, but it gets stolen often.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of times where I've caught people sucking up the gas. And it's hilarious, but at the same time, like, they never pay.
No, yeah, that's definitely like one of those controlled substances. The little canisters, yeah. Like,
well,
if you make your own.
It's whipped cream.
Yeah.
Yeah, the issue is whipped cream, so it's not like it's locked up or anything.
Yeah.
Like, we used to sell, when I first started working here years ago, we used to sell, like, the keyboard cleaner.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
But people huff that, too, and so we don't even sell that anymore.
Yeah. I remember I had seen this whole documentary about the NO2 scene, and, like, people would, like, literally fill balloons with it, and they'll go, and you'll just see people with balloons sucking up the thing,
At
and
parties?
it's nitrous oxide. Just having a good old time.
Wow. So, he puts the tube in his mouth and starts taking hits. But, being already drowsy from the antihistamine, he was unable to get the tube out of his mouth before passing out.
Dang.
People out from N2O don't move. They lay there, tube in mouth, for several minutes. By all accounts, he should have asphyxiated. His tongue had been frozen and was severely swollen the next day. But somehow he was still alive. In fact, the tube had been removed from his mouth and the valve turned off. He called friends to see if anyone would admit to saving him without actually bringing up what happened. Nobody did. Years later, he's at a stuffy science party when he has this magnetic attraction to a woman across the room. He approached the woman and began speaking with her. She asked him how his tongue healed.
Mm-hmm.
He was flabbergasted. He had been embarrassed by the whole ordeal and had only told very few select people. He asked who she was and how she knew about the incident. She told him she was meditating and traveling the astral plane when she saw him in distress. She knew that one day she would somehow need him, so she projected into his room and physically removed the tube from his mouth and shut the valve off. Soon enough, the two started dating and eventually fell in love and got married. Then the woman is diagnosed with cancer. She is in a lot of pain, but doctors are less than eager to provide her with pain relief and compounds to improve her quality of life. But Dr. Mullins isn't. He begins making medicines for her in his own labs and saves her from a lot of suffering. That was the reason she would later need him. The glowing alien raccoon entity encounter is an amazing read as well, and all the stories from him freaking out, all the square-ass status quo scientists are fun. The whole book is great, actually.
We will definitely read that. That was fun.
What is it called? It's called Dancing Naked in the Minefield. Mm-hmm. I'm about to look it up right now.
Yep. I got another story. But yeah, I thought that one was cool. Like, in a lot of these astral projector ones, you don't really hear about, like, the actual, like, physical part of it, because a lot of people think you can't do it. But I do believe, like, come on, if you can fucking astral project, I feel like if you're willing, like, come on. When people have adrenaline running in their bodies, you see all the awesome stuff they do. Like, we've seen, like, tiny-ass women pick up 100-pound cars to get children out from under. So it's like, how, like, if you're in your astral body and you have a lot of adrenaline running, maybe you can become a little physical and do something like that. Like, I think about ghosts, you know what I mean? Like, we have poltergeists and stuff like that. Maybe it's not a poltergeist. Maybe it's someone astral projecting and they just don't like you. And they're just fucking shit up.
Okay, my question is, from that story is, how did she know that she would need him one day?
Maybe it's just something in you just know, you know? Maybe she's kind of crazy.
You were just, like, pulled, like how you said the red ribbon. Maybe, you know, the silver string attaches us to us, but then the red string attaches us to other people.
Yeah. Which, you know what? This guy that I was listening to talk about the astral plane.
I found the book. It's $13.99 for a Nook book.
But he did say that he feels like when we're, like, in this astral plane, we're all connected. Come on. Like, we're all energy. Energy can never be created nor destroyed, so it has to get recycled, right? So I feel like at some point we're all kind of connected. Especially, like, you know, we talk about things where, like, we all know we all came from Africa. Okay, we know. So, like, we're connected somehow. Like, we're all connected by our roots, and we're all connected by this energy that this universe has provided for us. So maybe that's one of those things where sometimes we have more of a bigger, like, magnetic attraction to someone because there's someone we have met maybe in past lives. Like, me and you, for example. I feel like me and you have probably known each other from different lives because no matter how much you try to get rid of each other, we just cannot get rid of each other. Like, we're always stuck. So, it's like, I feel like...
That reminds me of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like from the 80s. And I used to watch it all the time as a kid, but I couldn't even tell, like, I could tell you pieces, but I can't tell you like the whole storyline. But I think it's on HBO, and I should watch it again. It's called Teen Witch, where this girl, she's like, you know, like a regular, just, she's not doing anything to stand out. It's just her and her best friend, really. She finds this necklace because she's like a drama nerd too, and the drama teacher's like, oh, that's not one of our necklaces, like, if you like, you keep it. And so she keeps it, and then I forget what happens, but she ends up at the psychic's place, and then she finds out that she's a witch and she keeps being reincarnated. And not only did she find that out, but the psychic lady can actually show her a book. She shows her a book, and it has both of them in from past life, like their photos. And she's wearing that necklace.
I don't know why that reminded me of fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, at the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! You find out that Kaiba and Yugi are both, like, connected from, like, a past life. And that Yugi was, like, the pharaoh, and Kaiba was, like, the wizard. And then there's, like, a picture of them, like, hieroglyphs, and you can see both of them on there. So that's how, like, they're connected, too. Yeah. I don't know why your story took me to Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm sorry. I'm just a different level of
people
weird.
Being connected. I don't know.
This one is by Shrine of Stage. Thank you for your contribution as well. Anyway, so this one is, I had an astral projection after 2 days of practice. Wow. All I can say is, nice.
Yeah, some skill there.
Oh. Hey, like, I feel like just some people just naturally have it in them. You know what I mean? All right. Meditation and spirituality have been a big part of my year. I've began picking up meditation again, and I try to meditate every day if I can. Saturday, I had become interested in astral projection, and I had delved into the subreddit trying to learn more. Last night, I had my first astral projection, and I would like to share more about it. On Saturday, I had begun deep meditation in hopes of achieving this state. I started attempting it at work in my free time. I would sit in my office and meditate in 50-minute intervals without moving my body at all. Hoping to...
Side note.
Yeah.
They sit in there for an hour doing nothing at work in their office. Like, what kind of job do they have? I wish I could do that. There's no way I'd be able to sit down for 10 whole minutes without somebody looking for me or calling me or asking how to do something. Like... They must not have a lot of responsibilities. They must have a desk job. They must not be in a cubicle. Because, dude.
Yeah.
And they are wasting, they're wasting an hour of company time.
I wish I could get paid to fucking meditate. Come on.
Man.
I would sit in my office and meditate 50-minute intervals without moving my body at all, hoping to induce a body paralysis. It was incredibly relaxing, and my body felt very fuzzy about 30 minutes in. At that point, though, I started to nod off and phase in and out of sleep for the rest of it. I felt very different and at peace, but I didn't seem too close to projecting. Sunday, I attempted 3 different times, all in 50-minute intervals. When I would start to feel the vibrations, I would try to visualize a rope that I could grab on and pull myself up on. It didn't work for me. On my 3rd attempt, I added 3 sets of Wim Hof breathing before I started, and it helped me get into the vibrational state much faster. It felt very powerful, and I felt like I was getting close. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to project myself out of my body. I went home, played some video games, and went to bed. I woke up at 7:30 a.m. because my dog Zephyr wanted to go outside and eat. I let him outside and returned to my bed. I had read it was easier to induce astral projection after a dream state. I stayed up for 30 minutes scrolling through Twitter trying to keep my brain awake, but I kept my body relaxed in bed. After that, I attempted again. However, I did not do Wim Hof breathing this time. After about 40 minutes of staying completely still and ignoring my urges to move and itch, I started to have a dream. It wasn't a very long dream. I'd say about 5 minutes, and it was a very normal dream. I snapped myself out of it, but kept my body completely still. Almost instantly, I felt incredibly intense vibrations. They felt very uncomfortable, and I felt them the most in my chest. I knew that this must be it. I tried to visualize the rope, but it wasn't working. I peeked my eyes open and looked at my room and saw that I wasn't dreaming. At that moment, I decided to give something else a shot. I started to try to lift my astral arm up, and I could feel them moving. And I peeked my eyes open again, and my body was completely still. I then tried to roll myself to the side onto the floor, and it started working. I could see, I'm getting excited. I could see that my body.
You're like, yes, you're doing it.
Yeah. I could see that my body was completely still, but I saw that I was slowly moving out of it. I rolled to the floor and quickly stood up and looked around, and my heart started racing. I decided to take a look around my house. I ran to the other bedroom where I kept my instruments, and it was very dark, but most everything looked normal, except a few minor differences in the object placement. I was so excited that I quickly ran downstairs to see more. I looked at my windows, and they had tiny cracks and fractures through them, which was unsettling, but amazing regardless. I ran to the back door and stood in my yard. I saw the sky, and it was purple, almost as if it was a strange version of dusk. I decided I wanted to try to fly, so I jumped and I took off into the air. I looked around my neighborhood and I was awestruck at what I was seeing. I had never even had a lucid dream before, so I was so ecstatic that I was able to fly. I started to float down so I could look around and explore, but suddenly my girlfriend, who was in bed with me, shifted in her sleep, instantly sending me back to my body. I only got to experience what felt like a couple of minutes in this state, but it was the most amazing experience I've ever had. I was shocked that I was able to pull this off after such a short amount of attempts. But I'm starting to think that 3 hours of deep, still meditation the day prior had helped me warm up to induce this state. I'd like to hear your comments and similar experiences with astral projection. I plan to attempt this again tomorrow morning, and hopefully if I pull it off, I want to explore the astral realm a lot more. Thank you for reading. I appreciate the feedback. Have a great day and good luck with your travels. But girl, imagine you astral project and you explore your house and you see cracks on your windows that aren't there in real life. It's all like, what in the astral world is trying to get into my house?
Yes, I would immediately be like, okay, note to self, gotta fortify this.
Yes.
Because something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm taking mental notes as I walk around my house.
Exactly. I was like, you know what? Let me go over here and get a cleansing wash and let me clean this window. Maybe replace the whole window. Just an idea.
It's time to bust out some Florida water.
Let's
gotta
go.
cleanse this space.
Mm-hmm. Have it have a stronger one. Have it seeping with some gator blood in there. Like, nuh-uh, not this house, bitch.
Where are you supposed to get gator blood from in California?
You have to find.
We don't have those out here.
So here are some of the scary ones. Let me send this to you. For the last 3 or 4 days, I've been doing a lot of research about astral projection. I've downloaded guided meditations to help me get outside of my body. I've listened to that twice with no luck. I got light tingling and a sort of upward motion, but that's it. I know I'm new at this and it will take a lot of practice, but this morning I had an extremely terrifying experience. My husband and I were laying in bed asleep and the phone rang. He answered and I heard the voice on the other end confirming his appointment for Monday. He hung the phone up and stayed in bed a few minutes. Then I had a thought of standing at the top of the stairs in his dad's house. His dad recently passed away, so no one is living there now, but many people have weird experiences in that house. It was like I was standing there at the top of the steps in between the bedrooms. At the same time, the whole left side of my head started this really intense tingling. The only way I can describe it is like your arm had been asleep for a long while, and when your blood rushed back through it, you get the tingling needle pricking feeling. Well, magnify that tingling by 5 and minus the needles. Really intense feeling just in the left side of my head at first. In my quick thought of just being at the top of the stairs, I felt scared and started to run into the room on the left, where we slept when we were there. Then it dawned on me that this Then it dawned on me that with this tingling, I may be trying to astral project, and there was no way I wanted to be in that house when I left my body. I thought, oh no, I don't want to be here. So I concentrated on my body lying in the bed. The intense tingling was really uncomfortable, and I was trying to ease it off, but it was spreading quickly all over my body. It was very overwhelming. Then, all of a sudden, it was like someone was grabbing me by my ankles, and it was lifting my legs up. I didn't like the feeling of a presence with me, because somehow I could feel it was from that house. I had this strong feeling that this thing was from there. I was trying to fight it and couldn't. Then I felt like I was being pulled to the right and was halfway hanging off the bed. My butt was sort of downwards and my legs were being lifted in the air. It felt like an entity was trying to pull me out of my body, and I could feel it saying, "Come on and let's go because this is what you've wanted." And I was fighting back. Yeah, I know. Not like this. Not with you. I remember my husband was still laying in the bed, and I tried to grab him with my left hand. I couldn't feel him at all. It was like he wasn't there at all, but I knew he was. There was a really loud buzzing noise in my ear. The feeling all over my body was so intense, and I was terrified. Then I could feel the bed moving. A little as my husband got up. I was trying hard to scream, move my body, anything to get his attention so he could help me, but I just couldn't. He walked on by, me not knowing what was happening to me. All I could do was try to stay in my bed and fight this thing trying to pull me out. I was kicking and thrashing about. I heard the bedroom door close when he went into the living room. All of a sudden, my ankles were freed, and this thing grabbed me by my chest somehow. It kind of felt like I had a tight t-shirt on, and it grabbed on with both hands. It jerked me up, and we flew across the room so fast. I ran into the wall right by the door under the clock. It didn't hurt at all. It really didn't even feel like I ran into anything. I just stopped there and fell down some. I was close to the floor now, and I realized this thing had went through the wall and let go of me. The next thing I knew, I was back in my body, trying hard to wake myself up. I kept telling myself, wake up now, and I could feel the presence coming close to me. Then I remembered the loving white light, and I started surrounding myself with it. The presence faded out and was gone. I was still very tingly, and the buzzing noise was calming down. I couldn't move yet, though. It took a couple of minutes to be able to move my fingers, and then slowly the rest of my body. When I could, I got up and wrote it all down because I didn't want to forget the details of it. I honestly didn't see how I could, as intense as that was, but I've read that sometimes it's easy to forget quickly, so I wrote it down. I don't know what to say about this experience except, oh my god. Oh my god, for real. I didn't like it at all. I wouldn't either. I want to astral project, but not like that. I don't want to be pulled out by someone, and definitely not a dark energy. I will, however, continue to explore this subject and see what happens. What a wild feeling it was being pulled outside of my body. I don't know how to go about explaining that. Yeah, no. Like I told you, the same thing, like when I had that dream and stuff like that. Like, yes, I started singing Peaches. Peaches was my first saving grace, right? Peaches and the other songs I sang. The next night, when I had like that same type of dream, I guess I had more like grounds to myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm protected by my ancestors, my guardian angels, my cousin and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, I have a lot of spirits who are here to help me, and I am not alone.
Yeah, positive.
Yeah, I'm like, and I'm not alone. Like, if you want to get to me, you're gonna have to get through all them in the back first. So, like, always know that you're not alone. Like, that lady had that loving light. Don't forget, you're not alone when creepy stuff like that happens. Let me get my last one. This one's kind of short, so, yep. So this one's called Sleep Paralysis and Astral Projection, Scary Fail Again. This is by Carling K. Thank you again for sharing. Much obliged. Alright. Sleep paralysis and astral projection. Scary story. Fail again. I went for my morning nap. because I find it's the best time for me to see how far I can get into either lucid dream or start to astral project. I laid down and drifted off with my eyes open, oddly enough. I could see my arm in front of me.
The first comment.
Oh yeah. Oh fuck that. Yeah.
All right, let me let you finish. I'm not gonna read ahead and be like, "What does that mean?"
I could see my arm in front of me. I did not think I was sleeping yet, but I could feel my body was numb, and then the really deep vibrating noise began, getting very intense too. Then it was quiet, but not silent. It was like it was underwater, like my ears had water in them. Noise was muffled, and I could hear faint things in the background. I tried to move, but couldn't, which was perfect for what I was trying to accomplish. So I'm looking at my arm in front of me and trying to move it. Wasn't really working for me until I got upset and a little frustrated. Then I saw a faint version or ghost version of my arm, leaving my real arm behind. Like my soul or energy was detaching from my body. Getting my arm out of my arm was hard enough, but I was really excited. Too excited. So I looked up to the hallway, and then I could hear a faint cutout whispers, and I started to panic. The vibrating noise came back, and I could see shadows coming up the stairs in the hallway. The whispers got louder, and I was trying to wake up really badly now because I had to let my mind drift to the shadow people before I was not... Wait, what?
Because I had let my mind drift to the shadow people before, and I was not down for that again.
I would not be down for that.
So they've had encounters with the shadow people before.
Yeah. Just as I felt the big, scary shadow men come in my room, I gasped for air and literally jumped out of bed and ran downstairs to go calm down. If there was anything that helps anyone from letting our minds wander to that, should I confront the shadowy men next time and kill the fear that keeps ruining my dreams? Does anyone else have this problem? And I will go with the best comment, oh fuck that.
Mm-hmm. So at the bottom what says, where is the silver string?
Silver string. Yeah.
They said, I thought you were supposed to be able to grasp something.
So yeah, that's what I have on astral projection. What do you think?
It's interesting, and yeah, the similarities or like the connection between astral projection and lucid dreaming, it does seem really close.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to lucid dream. Like, I feel like I am an avid daydreamer. Mm-hmm. So when I space out, I'm gone. Like, It's not like, oh, I'm just spacing out. I'm doing the same thing I'm doing. I am in a completely different universe, thinking about something wildly different than what I'm actually doing.
Yeah.
But I've never tried lucid dreaming. Mm-hmm. Like, there's times where I'm, like, in a dream and I know I'm there, but it wasn't, like, intentional.
Yeah. Like, I can definitely, like, lucid dream when I want to, but at the same time it's not something I do all the time, because I feel like when I lucid dream, when I wake up, I'm more tired than I actually slept.
Yeah, you didn't get the full rest.
Yeah, I didn't really get full rest, so I try not to lucid dream. Like, I try lucid dream every once in a while, but it's not something that I do all the time. I think the reason I'm tired is because I don't ground myself at the end of my experience, which I'm really terrible at grounding. But yeah, this was something new that I learned. It was very interesting. And Steph, I hope you like this episode. I hope you give us more ideas. Anyone else, if you have anything else you guys would like us to look up, we are down to search. Just let us know. Yeah, just let us know who you want to do it.
Oh yeah, and don't just drop it, because then we'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, just be like, I think this bitch will be good at it, and we'll be like, all right, we get that bitch for you. So let us know. We almost didn't go. Did you have a jam of the week, Kim?
This week? No, I'm still listening to
Hamilton.
Dragon Ball Do-Rag.
Oh, Dragon Ball Do-Rag. Dragon Ball Do-Rag.
But yeah. Oh, and we still gotta do the Oracle cards.
Oh yeah, we still gotta do Oracle cards.
But yeah, did you have any jams of the week?
Girl, Carlos gave me a fucking amazing discovery, and I fucking love this band so much now. They are called Gangster Grass, and it's pretty much bluegrass and rap mashed together.
Heard of them.
Yes.
I've heard of them.
And they have one called barn burning, and that shit is fucking lit. I was like, I am a very big fan of having different what's it called, different genres blend together, because sometimes like you don't think they're gonna blend, but then that shit's like, whoa, like why weren't we doing this from the beginning? And yes, if you have not heard Barn Burning by Gangsta Grass, you need to go on there and get you some Gangsta Grass, because that shit is, you'll be feeling it on your way home. I'd be like, yes, like I'd be like, get it. Oh, I've so much fun.
So I have pulled
The card.
our card. This week's oracle card is number 10, my favorite number.
Hey.
Follow your own good advice. Trust yourself. You know what is best for you.
Definitely.
Then it says harsh self-judgment for a mistake or an error made. Unmet personal expectation causing inconsolable sadness. A reminder to detach, find clarity, and follow your personal internal guidance system, which has some very practical solutions. So pretty much what I get out of that is just don't be so hard on yourself. Follow your gut feeling. It'll be okay.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, it's, if it's something that you yourself are unhappy doing, don't do it, because you're not going to be happy. So go with your gut. Like, even if people are like, nah, you should not do that, go with your gut. Because at the end of the day, like the card said, you know yourself best. And then that way you don't regret anything. Because it's always one of those things like, well, if I would have just listened to myself, this would never happen. Here you go. This is your reminder. Listen to yourself. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's topic. If there, like we've said millions and gazillions of times, if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, go ahead and send us a message on our Instagram, item9podcast, or send us an email at item9podcast@gmail.com. You will be hearing from one of us. And thanks again for joining us on this Friday, and we'll see you guys next week. This is Hyra.
And Kim.
And don't you ever fucking forget that you're the bee's knees.
Item 9.
Bye, you guys. See you next Friday.